In 2009, I attended the wedding of Miss International Chief Executive Murdoch'sembrace. The ceremony took place proudly at a country estate. I stood next to be presenter Kirsten while Paul Deck, Daily Mail editor, was a few yards away. Bernard was closer to Jackson. David Cameron, Home Director Slow, Gordon Brown, then Prime Minister arrived late, with all eyes turning to me. They walked down to the lake. At the reception, I had a brief conversation with Mr. Cameron. I said, I hope it will not in the upcoming election, but that if we did and if you wanted to have the political debate and stand by, I would support it. For some time, the journalist in me had known that the relationship between politics and the media was not serving the public. It was my first time experience this developing actual abuse and negativity that convinced me this 24-hour news will make it more difficult for the leader of the problem. It's got worse, hasn't it? He said. I replied that he'd be a much stronger prime minister were he to take office, not feeling he owed anything to the big media groups. At that point, Mr. Murdoch joined us and we changed the subject. Perhaps we should not have done so. That we did, however, illustrated something of the dishonesty at the heart of what a political and dishonesty at the heart of what are essentially political and commercial relationship. It is not easy to do what Ed Miliband, Labour leader, did last week, make himself an enemy of some of the media's most powerful forces. He was right that Labour got too close to News International, but he was also right that given the media bias against it, he knew why we tried to level the playing field. In my own defense, and as my diary showed, argued for some years with Tony Blair that we needed act on the culture of media. At one point, it ticked me off, asking that I not my views so obvious in front of Mr. Murdoch, his son James, and Lexington, then chief executive of News International. Ultimately, Mr. Blair thought the press had become a problem, but that given our other priorities, people would not understand our taking them on. He also thought it would look like revenge for the fact that he had turned against it. And there were political considerations too. Trying to govern a new election is hard enough without the press being against you. Except that for all of us, at times media support was something we created at the expense of positions or principle on media issues. But that trap has now been sprung. The latest revelation has forced the police, News International, and the government to act. The police will now be more rigorous. News International will continue with their kamikaze crisis management, which one day will be studied as a textbook case of how not to do it. But the most important developments are the Prime Minister drawing course into past practices. Regulation. These mean we now have once in a generation opportunity for a new settlement between politics, the media, and the public. Nobody can argue that we have the press we deserve. Pressured by technological change, a dominant strain of Britain's media has gone into a spiral of decline, in which this scandal is only the most dramatic development. Mr. Cameron did not look comfortable announcing the reviews. He has personal relationship at stake, and given he hired Andy Carson as his communications director, his judgment is true. Already the backlash from part of the press has begun as seek to maintain that anything but loose self-regulation is an assault on the free press. But Mr. Cameron must stand back from all of that and ask himself what is the right thing to do. He did some of it last Friday. The judicial inquiry should be far-reaching. The news of the war is far from alone in the usual dubious and illegal practices, as widely ignored reports from the Information Commission have shown. Part of Britain's media reminds me of the trade union before Mrs. Thatcher. They feel untouchable. As I say above, Labour could and should have done more to deal with the fear of beast. But just as the MP's expenses scandal emerged from the failure of Mrs. Thatcher's government to tackle MP salaries, so the system by which showered honors on editors and owners, a practice to which she put an end with a rule that no serving editor could be honored, means she too has something to answer for. Whatever the past, it is Mr. Cameron who must lead the country to a better place. Mr. Miliband has shown himself capable of playing a good and principled part, and so should the public. Ultimately, political debate will only improve if the public want it to. If they channel the anger of recent event into an assessment of what kind of people they read, whether they really want to live on a diet of celebrity, trivia, negativity, and abuse, to coin a phrase, we are all in this together.